Now, the limitation over here with active standby is how many boxes do you buy? Two. How many are being used? One. The other one is your insurance policy, right? In case the first one goes down, I have a backup. Otherwise, it's not being used at all. And that's the limitation of active standby. That is the limitation of failover. So to get around that, the only way you do that is by using a mechanism called active-active. Let me save this diagram first. You have the ability to utilize both boxes at the same time. But keep one thing in mind, you can only do it in a multi-context mode. And it's not really using both boxes for the same unit. You basically, what you're doing is you create a multi-context setup. Let's say I have sales and marketing. What I have the ability to do is have sales, or the first box, ASA1, forward all the traffic for sales. And I have the second box over here, forward all the traffic for Mark. So end result, I'm utilizing both boxes, but for two different contexts. So rather than getting two boxes and assigning the first box to sales, the second box to marketing, what I would do instead of doing that is get the box, split it up, and allow you the ability to do what? Back each other up. Remember, somebody asked me about the multi-context. I told you one of the things is the multi-context will help you in one of the failovers. This is that failover. What is it called? It's called active-active, which is misleading because when you think about active-active, what comes to mind? Both boxes are forwarding for what? Not for the same context. So one context will only be active on one of the boxes. Can't do that too much over here. That's what in today's day and age, nobody would want you to do this failover active-active. Instead, what you do is you do clustering. Clustering is allowing you the ability to combine the two boxes into the same box and forward it based on that. You get my point? So you do clustering for that. This is not, we do clustering in ASA, yes. That's one of the biggest differences between 8.x and 9.x. 9.x supports clustering, 8.x does not. But ASA does support clustering. We'll do that as well. Probably not today, next week, because I want you to be fresh for that. Yes, we do. Clustering is on the exam. Yeah, that is something that you need to be aware of. Part of the curriculum. All right, so how do I do it? So by looking at this, what's a requirement for doing active-active? What do you think is a requirement for active-active? Multi-context. Active-active cannot be done with a single context. All right, so let's set this up. First things first, let's stop these. I'll fire them up and then I'll compare. Let's take a look at this topology over here. You guys pay attention. This is one ASA box. I'll split this one ASA box into two contexts. What I've done is I've assigned E00 and E1 to sales. Everybody clear on that so far? Because one context can only be forwarding on one firewall. Even with active-active, sales is only forwarding on the first box. It's not forwarding on both boxes. So if you have a single context, you cannot forward on the same box. Got it, Jilani? It does not have the capability. One ASA cannot forward on two boxes at the same time. ASA cannot forward traffic on two boxes at the same time. So what they did was they split it into two different firewalls, allowed one firewall to forward to one box, the second firewall to forward over the second box. The same one, same context cannot be forwarded over two boxes. Limitation of ASA. That's where we can do it in clustering, not in failover. Now, another thing that I want you guys to see over here, in terms of marketing, I have E2 and E0. Forget about this box for right now. I'm just focusing on ASA1. Notice that E0 is assigned to what? Both boxes. How is that? The reason that is possible is if the firewall, the two logical firewalls are terminating into the same VLAN, same IP subnet. You have the ability to, rather than using two physical interfaces, use the same interface allocated to both the contexts. So I've allocated E00 to both the contexts. Having done that, each one will have its own IP address. So for sales, the IP address will be 11 and let's say 21. You understand that? They will have their own individual IP addresses. They will not have what? The same. It's the same physical interface that has been allocated to two different interfaces. The only reason it's possible is because both the interfaces are terminating into what? The same subnet. If they are, I have the ability to do this. This type of concept is known as a shared interface. So I'm sharing the interface on both the contexts. So if you take a look at it with three interfaces, I've gotten the job done for what? Multiple. With three interfaces, I got four interfaces done. One outside, which is shared, and then I have individual insights. I have this guy going for sales, and I have this guy going for marketing. The sales connects into this switch over here. Marketing connects into this switch over here. So if I just have one firewall, this is the way the traffic is flowing out. But I want to do redundancy. So I got another box. I set it up exactly the same way. I connected E2 over here to this guy, just like I did E2 over here. E1 over here towards this. So I have the 1040 network R4 connected to it. It has this way to go out, or it has this way to go out. Same thing with what? R5. It can go out either this way or that way. So I have redundancy for 4 and 5's perspective. On the outside, both of them are doing what? They're sharing the same interface. So this traffic over here will be carried for this guy as well as this guy. Logically, same thing over here. Understood? So the first thing that I want to do is I want you guys to, for right now, forget this part. Let's concentrate on, I want sales, R4, I'll have a multi-context connecting R4 to sales going out, and I want R5 to connect in using this over here to go out. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing multi-context on the first box. This is my failover. I'll bring it up next. So let's do multi-context over here. Multi-context with active failover. Step 1, configure one of configure the first box for multi-context. Okay. So let me make sure my devices are up. These, I think, are my devices 4, 5, and 3, 4, and 5. My routers are 3, 4, and 5, and 2 ASAs. So to set this up, before I do it, let's check R3. What do I have on R3? Show IP interface brief. My IP address is 192.1.100. Take a look at this network over here, guys. You guys see that R3 is on this network, 192.1.100.0. Let's see if I'm running telnet. I'm running telnet, so R3 is good. R4 is this inside device, 1040.40.0. I'm going to point to .11 as my default gateway. Let's check if that's done. .1040.44 show IP route, 1040.40.11 as my default gateway. The other one is R5. R5 is 1050.50.0 with the default gateway pointing to .21. For ASA2 for marketing, I'm keeping that as my default gateway. This is my IP, 1050.55, and my default gateway is 1050.50.21. So my routers are configured. So let's configure ASA1, the first ASA. Let's check. Should be blank. No, it is not. So what do I do over here? Clear configure. This clears my config completely. And I'll do it on the second box as well. Just check what's on there. And this one is blank. See, it doesn't have any config on it. The first one was not. So I'm on ASA1, the first one. Admin context admin. Because I cleared the config, it would have blown it away. Context admin. Give it a config URL, which is required. All right, show context. This would have been done for you. I blew it away. That's why I have to do that. Now my configuration, normal configuration. Interface E0/0, no shut. Interface E0/1, no shut. Interface E0/2. I want to check my interfaces because it might be different. Yeah, it's 0 and zero, 1, and 2. Good? Yes, Prashant. Context sales. allocate interface E0, allocate interface E1, and config URL /:, let's call it sales.cfg. I blew the config away. By default, it was there, but when you do clear configure all, it blows it away. The reason I had to blow it away was because I had the initial config from somewhere else. Clear configure all just blows that away. That's why I had to. Tell me you guys are okay with this. Bought the physical interfaces up. Created the context sales. I'll create another context mark. I'll assign the same E0 to both. That's a shared interface. And E2 is the unique one. Copy. Go to ASA1. Create my context. All right. Next, configure sales interface, basic config. I'm not going to go too much in here. IP address. Now, although E00 is assigned to both the contexts, each one will have its own individual identifier. So for right now, I'll just do the IP address like that, because later on when I do failover, I need to give it the standby address as well. E1, name if inside, and this guy was 10.40.40.11. Route outside 00, 100.3, which is router 3. And let's just do a basic object network, pool A, range 192.100.101 through, let's say, 100.150. You need to be careful because I'm sharing the networks between the outside networks between the two sales and marketing. So the pool addresses don't overlap them. Inside network was 10.40.40.0. NAT inside, outside, dynamic, pool A. Change to context, sales. Done. So sales, which is this guy over here, should be able to go this way and hit up 100.3. Let's see if that works. So I'll go to router 4, which has an IP address at 10.40.40.4 with the default gateway .11, which is the marketing. It should be able to go and telnet into 192.100.3. 100.3 is the IP address of R3. So if everything's fine, I should be able to telnet into it. Something not right. See if I can ping 10.40.40.11. That is okay. Can I ping 100.3? That is okay. 10.100.1. Looks good. So my translated to 100.109 R3 that is strange, should work. Check my it's working. See my config again. Looks good. Nothing wrong with the config. My translations are working. 40 is getting translated to 109. That is show XLate. Show IP NAT translations you're thinking about is on a router. MAC address auto you talking about? That is not required if you're doing translations. If you're not doing translation, that is required. Check something out. Permit simply any echo reply. I just want to see if my ping works. That is not right. Host is 4044. Static 100.4. Translation issue. Yep, something to do with the translations, working with the static. Okay, what's wrong with my translation? It looks okay. I don't see anything wrong with it. Object network, let's say pool A, range 100.51, 100.100, object network, INS net, subnet is 10.40.40.0, NAT in comma out, dynamic pool A, show xlate. Let's go over here. I don't know, very strange. Now it's working with the dynamic NAT as well. No, dynamic is always initiated from inside to outside. So dynamic, I went from where? Here to here. R3 is outside. Traffic initiated from inside to outside. You said traffic initiated from outside. So I redid it, it works now. Let's do marketing now. I don't know what the issue was, so I used 51 to 100. Configure marketing now. I'm just getting the two devices up and running. So change to mark, context mark, case sensitive. E0 is the same interface on the outside as well. On the inside, it's E2, and that is 50. Default gateway is the same. Range, same network. I'll say 151 to 200. Inside network is 50 and 50. And the pool. So let's see if it works for marketing. Change to context mark, give it the IP address on the outside as well as on the inside. Ping 192.100.3 on the outside should work. There you go. Ping on the inside should work. So it's working on the outside, working on the inside. My configuration for NAT is done. So let's see if this goes over there. Working fine. Show users, I should be one from the second range. So at this point, I haven't done anything about active. All I did was I had what? Sales go like that, and R5 go like that. So I've just configured what? This box with all the configurations. Everybody okay with it so far? The problem with that is if this guy goes down, it will bring both the contexts down. Right? Somebody asked that question earlier on. The hardware is still the same, so there's no redundancy. So that's what I'm going to do with the second box over here. What's the purpose of the second box? Not only provide redundancy, but also allow me to do load sharing in the sense that right now both the boxes are going through what? This guy. What I want to do is once the other one comes up, I want marketing to go this way. So technically what I can do then is have R5 take this route out, whereas I can have R4 take this route out. So both boxes can be utilized. When you do the failover in a multi-context mode, it is done in the system context. Remember the bootstrap commands? The failover commands, I'm going to do them inside my system context using E3, which is connecting them to each other, with some subtle extra things that I need to do on the first box. Let me show you that. So the basic commands, now I'm going to do failover bootstrap commands on the first box. Interface E3, no shut. That's the physical interface that is going to be used for what? The failover LAN interface. Once I'm done with that, I give my normal failover command, failover LAN interface, FC E3. Give it an IP address, the active address, and the standby address. Failover LAN unit, primary, failover key if you want to set one up. Good. Now, normally I would say failover here, right? That would enable failover. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to say failover link. I'm going to use the same interface also as my stateful link. Now, that's something that I had done already. The new stuff. I'm going to create two failover groups. Group one, I'm going to say whoever is a member of group one, I want you to try to become active on the primary unit. Remember the primary and secondary? Now they take on the meaning of a name. So this is my primary unit. And this is my secondary unit. So failover group one, I'm telling it, hey, listen, I want you to be active on primary. Whoever is a member of group one should try to become active on primary. Primary meaning the primary unit. And I want to preempt it. So preempt basically means I want you to try and become active on the unit that is the primary unit, the LAN unit primary. And whoever is a member of failover group 2 should become active on the secondary unit. Hang in there, you'll understand this. So I have group 1, which is saying I want you to be active on which one? Primary. And I have group 2, which says I want you to be active on secondary. Now what I can do is I can go and assign my context to these. So I'm going to assign, let's say, sales over here, and I'm going to assign marketing over here. You guys understand that? So because I'm assigning sales to group 1 and group 1 wants to become active on primary, sales will become active on the primary unit. Because I want marketing to become active, because marketing is a member of group 2, and I've told group 2 that it needs to become, active on the secondary, it'll become active on the second unit. How do I make it a group? How do you make a context a member of a group? Go back into the context sales the way you created it. Over there you say join failover group 1 for sales, and for marketing you say join failover group 2. So now who's a member of group 1? Sales. And sales is a device that will try to become active on which one? Primary. Group 2, Mark is a member of group 2, group 2 is a member or trying to become active on secondary. Once I'm done with this configuration, besides my bootstrap configuration, which is this, should say configure the bootstrap and then configure the failover link and failover group configuration on the first box, which is this one. And at the end, once I'm done with all of that, I'll activate. You guys understand that? So did I do this over here or not? Not yet. I don't think I've done any of this. So I will copy and paste the whole thing over here on the first box. But this needs to be done in the system context. So now on E03, yeah, you'll need that. Now on E03, I've brought the interface up. I basically done what? Set the normal failover commands on it. Set my failover link. The groups, the two groups, join the context into the groups and enable failover. Once I'm done with that, show failover. It's in negotiation state. I have not done anything on the second box. It's blank. Okay. What I need you guys to wait for is let the first one find out there's no other box. She's saying negotiation. I want you to wait because I want this to be elected as what? As the active unit for both. Let it come up. It will take all its configuration and replicate it to the standby unit. When whatever I've done for the system, the marketing, or the sales context will be replicated to the second box. Everything will be done. But what you need to do is make sure it comes up and becomes the active for both boxes first before you move on to the next one. You should see both the groups be active on this one. And in terms of the second box, the only thing that I need to do is the failover commands, not the group commands. Failover commands on the second box. The other commands, I don't need them because those will be replicated. But I won't do this until the first one is elected completely. It'll try to look for the other one. It waits for about a minute. And once it's done that it does not find anyone on the other side, then it'll come up. Once it comes up and it's elected as a failover, the active one, I'm happy. The reason I want to wait is because sometimes what happens is the other guy comes up quicker and it has a blank config and it overrides the entire config over here. So once this is active, I know for a fact it will be elected as the active unit. It is the elected as the active unit. There's no chance of the other one blowing my config because all my configs are done over here. So right now, this is what I want you guys to see. It takes about a minute, but wait for that 1 minute so that you can see because all my configs are done on this host. And group 1, I'm the active. For group 2, I'm the active because I haven't done anything on the other one. But now I have this group concept in place. Who's a member of group 1? It's a sales. And group 2 is marketing. And I've told it group 1 should try to become active on the primary unit, group 2 on the secondary unit, but I haven't done any. I don't have the other one. I cannot do anything with it. This unit is the secondary unit. So now I'll copy this and paste it onto what? ASA2. Once I do this, it will start the replication from there and it'll copy the entire config across. Take a look at it. So whatever I did on the other side will be copied across, including what? Creating of the context, creating of the configuration within the context, everything. Failover is enabled, but standby IP address is not configured for this interface. That's okay. I will do that now. Show failover. Still going through it. The other unit is still active and active. But what should happen is group 2 should preempt. And he should become the active one. This unit should become the active one for what? Group 2 eventually. Give it some time for it to do the preempt. Let it copy the configs first. And you'll see it. It'll give you a message saying that I want to preempt for group 2. Now, if I preempt for group 2, so sales is active on which box? So if I want to make any configuration to sales, I need to go to what? ASA1. If I want to make any changes to what? Marketing, who's active on what? Or should be active on ASA2, I need to go to ASA2. Because I make all my changes on the active box. One second. Let's check what the status is. There you go, group 2 preempt. Show failover. I'm on the second box right now. This unit is a secondary unit. I'm the active unit for group 2. I'm the standby unit for group 1. And the other host is active for group 1, standby for group 2. You guys understand that? So both sides are getting, both devices are getting used, but in a multi-context environment. So the only thing that's left over, because marketing is active on this guy, I can say change to context mark and set the IP. So for example, if I look at my interface E0, it only has the active address. I need to give it what? The standby address as well. I'll say the standby address is IP address 100.22. Oh. Show run interface E0. And similarly, I have E2. I'll say my standby address, which I had not configured. Because initially I just wanted to get the first one up, is 22. So that finishes my secondary interfaces up as well. But that's only for Mark. I still need to go to ASA1 because ASA1 is active, has the sales as active. Show failover. Group 1 is active on this box. Group 2 was active, which is Mark, on the second box. So I'll say change to context sales. And what do I do over here? Complete my interface config. 100.11, 100.12. And E1, IP address 1040.40.11, 1040.40.12. What is it overlap with? Strange. All right. So this should show you the interfaces as well with a standby. So that's your standby addresses as well. I could have done it over here. I didn't want to confuse you guys because at that point I was not doing any failover. So when I created sales over here, I could have specified my standby because I knew that I was going to do it, but I didn't want to confuse you guys. All right, and the same thing over here, I would say standby for Mark, same thing. Hopefully you're getting it though, Mark, Keith. Review the video, you'll be okay. Can we use standby addresses event? There is no failover config. No point. If you don't have failover, you don't need the standby. You can do it, but it's not going to harm, but it's no use for it. And that, I think, is good enough for today. Covered a lot.